I think
Yeah.
you're planning to write posts about Christianity too. I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to discuss more about that as well.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah. So that's the direction. So yeah, I just wanted to confirm that portion of that. So yeah, going to spirituality. So yeah, I've been raised a Catholic since I was, a kid, since I was a baby. I was baptized to Catholic church when I was a baby. And I feel like, I wouldn't say that I've done anything like so terrible, so crazy, I guess, or at least based on what other things are happening in the world. But I definitely wasn't the best example of a Christian in terms of um, either it was the music that I listened to or, other things. I never drank, I never did any of that. But other things that I feel like maybe I wasn't being really a dutiful Christian. So, recently I've had some experiences, eye-opening testimonies that I've seen on YouTube, things that have happened to me in the past years, very spiritual experiences that I've had regarding hell and demons and kind of seeing these other testimonies on YouTube kind of say similar, more kind of grotesque things, I guess. So, and me by reading more of the Bible as well, I've come to realize that like Jesus is really important. Jesus is the most important, and I need to prioritize my faith over everything in my life. So that's what I'm doing now. So in my writing, I plan on writing for Faith Writers, which is it's a website that they have a lot of Christian writers write like devotionals and like stories based on the Bible, and essentially, however I want to portray or whatever kind of content that I'm gonna make, whether it's through music, whether it's through writing. If I decide to make like a podcast about some of scripture and things that people need to know about and warn people about, then all of that is going to be about God and based on the gospel. So yeah, about Jesus.
Okay, that's pretty good. And do you think that, I think it's also important that, if you're a developer, it's not you just have to master just all this engineering stuff. I think like being at peace with yourself, like what you mentioned, your spiritual side will also help a lot. And you think, that this newfound direction that you're going will make some will 10x your work and your other aspects in life, including your current career or other, other lifestyle habits that you've been doing?
Um, I would say that it gives more perspective of what I need to do in this lifetime. I know that there are probably a lot of viewers that have a lot of different backgrounds. Some, have different faiths and everything. But what I would say is that, for a long time, I've been doing things that I just want to do or do things because maybe it might make me look good or feel good. So it was always about me or what the world, I guess, wants me to do. Um, not that I haven't enjoyed the things that I've done, but there comes to a point, where you feel like you do a lot of things and you feel kind of like, what's the end goal? What's the main goal? You know? And I was kind of feeling that way when I was writing for Github. Even though I enjoyed it, I started to ask myself, like, like it says in the Bible, pretty much like, you know, Jesus is not of the world, right? So pretty much whatever I'm not doing for him, I'm doing it for the world. And the world is pretty much what's it called? The world is pretty much the devil, right? It's not of God. So a lot of the things that I was desiring to do was for myself and not for God, not for Jesus. So I think now that I've made this direction, like, I know we talked a lot about music and I grew up listening to all sorts of music, but I've done a lot of research about what's happening in the music industry and what kind of energies certain energies music kind of conjures when you listen to them, as well as things that I experienced after I got rid of all the albums and all the vinyls that I had. I realized music definitely is really powerful, and I realized that I need to again prioritize Jesus, because the world that we're living now is really chaotic, is very divisive, and I can't the world that we live in now is very temporary. My world could end tomorrow, somebody else's world could end next week. So to be so invested in what the world wants, or even what you want all the time, that's not really what God wants. And like I said, you need to be ready for whatever your time is, you know.
True. And when you're doing this, I think you already mentioned this earlier, but just to clarify, you started
Mhm.
like fasting yourself from certain media sources, right? Like I know you used to be a huge rock fan, and even like I don't know screamo metal. I don't know if that's really a thing. I don't know the genres and hard rock stuff, but you're fasting yourself from certain stuff, and maybe you could tell us more about that and how now that makes you feel much more in peace, or especially when you work. Go ahead.
Yeah. So a few things I would say is that, yeah, you're right. I was really into rock. And when I say rock, I mean all kinds of rock.
Yeah,
I
you
listen
told me you were like so you have like a
um
vast library of knowledge on that
yeah.
stuff. It's
I
ridiculous.
Honestly, I grew up just listening to all different kinds of music, especially rock. I mean, you wouldn't in one listening session, I could be listening to Misfits, Drake, and maybe the Smiths, right? Like those are very completely three different artists. But that's what I would like. I even listened to Frank Zappa. There was a time that I like jazz fusion, like John Luke Ponty. Like obviously, like I think I just said that Led Zeppelin, or like some esoteric kind of like new wave, like Japan, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I mean, I could go really on and on about all the different artists that I've listened to. Some I'm more proud of, not proud, but some I don't even want to say because it's pretty bad for me to say. I don't want people
Yeah,
to
sure,
look
sure.
these. I don't want to look. I don't want people to look up these artists.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure.
But the point I'm trying to make is that uh, you really need to be careful with what music you listen to, because if you read like research articles, you'll read that music is a very spiritual, hypnotic experience, right?
Mhm.
And you have to be careful in the sense that you may like how the song listens to. Like for me, I thought the weirder the better. So like the weirder the sound, I thought this was good, even though my mom was like, why do you like this, but I
Right.
think that I was so I was so into the music. I was so into the sounds that even if something was off, or even if a song made me feel kind of odd, I still listened to it anyway, cuz I don't know, I just everything to me was like good, I guess. Um but going back to how music is a very spiritual experience. So when you listen to music, you have to be mindful of the fact that you may not always know what you're saying, right? Or what you're listening to.
Right.
There may be some lyrics that an artist says. There's this YouTube video. This Kenyan rapper, he talked about how he almost sold his soul to the devil. And it's a very interesting video. But there's truth to what he said about, you don't know what kind of things these people say in the song, especially when you like sing along to the songs. So for example, what's it called? Like he gave an example in the video about Wizkid. Wizkid, I believe, is a rapper. So Wiz, short for wizard, right?
Mm.
And he mentioned something. One of his songs, what did he say? Mammy, something about Mammy water, which apparently like that's like some marine. I don't know if it's like a mermaid or like something based in the marine kingdom, which is marine kingdom is kind of like some dark kingdom. The point I'm trying to make is that when you sing along, when you listen to these songs, you don't know what kind of things you're putting into your house. You don't know what kind of spirit this person has. You don't know what kind of life they live, especially if they're passed on, right? So when you listen to these songs and these lyrics, you're essentially allowing that energy of that artist or that person or those lyrics come into your house. And again, you don't really know if this is good or this is bad. And to be honest with you, there were definitely some times where I listened to something, or even I played something on my guitar that something like didn't feel right, but I just continued anyway. So in the time of me fasting, when I decided, let me take this seriously, because in the Bible it says that you have to focus on Jesus. You have to focus on building up the kingdom. It focuses on think only like holy things, think only like glory, things related to the glory of God, right? So essentially, what the music I was listening to was very antithesis of that, because here I am listening to artists that talk about sex, or they're cursing, or they're talking about some other dark things, so I had to come with the terms that, even though, okay, I like music and I like the way this sounds and I like this artist, but I have to come to terms with that 90% of the songs I was listening to does not corroborate, does not complement my religion, because my religion, the Bible, really opens up your eyes, and the Bible just opened up a lot of people's eyes, obviously, when they read them, and open to me that, I can't really listen to these songs anymore. So I made the decision to eliminate these albums, eliminate these CDs out of my room. And I mean, it's such a difference now, honestly. I feel such a more peaceful presence in my room now that I've eliminated them. Additionally, I experienced some, again, not everyone is going to believe what I say, but
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
yeah, I had this experience where, again, I've listened to anything, everything, whatever, it was totally fine. Then I started to eliminate some of these CDs. And it's funny because as I was eliminating these CDs, like, I just felt really tired and out of breath, like out of nowhere. I just didn't know what was happening to me, because everything in life is spiritual, right? Like, we may think that we're fighting against each other like flesh and blood, it says in the Bible, but in reality, we're fighting all like the spiritual forces that are around us. So essentially, if there's this YouTube video as well, and it talks about how do you know you're being under spiritual attack? So I felt that I was under spiritual attack because out of nowhere, I suddenly started getting out of breath as I was going through my CDs. Then when we threw them out, all these rock CDs, all these artists that I liked, it was very difficult. Just like, it was very difficult to do all of this. But I always thought, you know what? I'm going to take my faith seriously, especially when you watch these hell testimonies. And, I almost went to hell twice. I've had dreams about it. So that was obviously very, very scary for me or for anybody. So, when I did that, and I actually went through my Spotify too. So again, not only the physical CDs and vinyls that I had, but I went through my Spotify and I had all these playlists. So I took those out, and I had like maybe 900 something songs on my liked songs playlist.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So I decided, again, like, I decided, I'm going to take my faith seriously, because honestly, I've been playing for two teams. The Bible says you can't have two masters, right? You can't play for the devil and play for God. You can't do that. You have to make a choice. So I was like, okay, let me just like, take away these songs that are on my Spotify. And you think Spotify's on the cloud, like, you're not physically storing the songs, but they also have their own energy that emits from these songs. So, I try to pray every night. And then when I prayed at night, all of a sudden, I heard, and again, like, I'm not crazy, I don't like hallucinate or anything, but all of a sudden I was trying to pray, and I heard this dark voice tell me like, oh, what did you do? What did you do? Why did you do that? And it started to curse me, actually. And I know that sounds weird for anyone who's listening, because they're like, why, what is that? Why is that? Like, but I'm telling you, I could honestly tell you, I've not experienced something like that in my life. And like I said, like, everything in this world is very spiritual. So if you were to look at that from the standpoint that life is spiritual, which it is, that essentially the CDs that I thought that I had that were good, the songs that I listened to that I thought were good, were actually not good, because apparently there was a dark force telling me, why did I do that? Right.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, after I stopped listening to secular music, like, my whole, like I told you, my room, I even had videos. I had a movie, Rebel Without a Cause, in my my
Oh, that's a good
room.
movie. James Dean. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's like one of my favorite movies. But you have to look at the lives of those three people. So the three main characters died of a tragic death, right? So James
Yeah.
D died in a car accident, even to the point that his car, I think somebody else got his car and they also went in an accident, right? Number two is Natalie Wood died of drowning. Obviously, there's this whole debate in terms of if she like drowned or she was murdered, but she drowned, right? Then you have Sal Mineo. Sal Mineo was stabbed to death as well.
Jeez.
So again, you have to really, again, we have to really think about whatever we put into our lives, whatever we take in, right? Our Holy Spirit is our temple. So whatever we take in, whatever thing we listen to, whatever we watch, we always have to think it's not just the content, it's also the people, right? It's also whatever spirit they have. And I remember having that in my room. And when I would go to that side of the room, I would feel like, I don't know, you felt something, but I just ignored it because at this time I didn't think about it. But I'll be honest with you, when I took that out, it was a difference. It was a difference. And I think you don't realize it until you start kind of going through the sanctification process of eliminating, either dark things or things that in your room that, may have some kind of energy you don't realize. Like, for example, even when I'm trying to get rid of some books that I had, like Halloween books, or even like song books. Like I had the Beatles songbook, which if you know about the Beatles, like John Lennon was really like anti-Christian, right? And you have to remember, especially people who died, you don't know where they are right now. You don't know what kind of lives they live. You don't know where they are. So when you keep those things, you have to remember, you have to be mindful of that. So I'm trying to get rid of that. I even had like lyrics, and I had what is it, like music, like tabs of like even Black Sabbath, you know and Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, right? Prince of Darkness, right? He calls himself Prince of Darkness, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm just saying that my room on the surface seemed very peaceful, but I actually was having a lot of things that were not. And truly, when I go in my room now, it feels so different, to the point that now, because now the Bible says to listen to psalms, hymns, and spirituals. So now when I try to listen to secular music that I once loved, I was once crazy about, I just cannot listen to it anymore. It just doesn't feel right anymore. So yeah, I would really like push Christians to not listen to secular music. And I'm not trying to say that to be like bossy or judgmental. Like, I'm not even judging the artists themselves. I'm just warning you that you don't know what kind of songs these are, and you don't know what kind of things you are allowing in your life. Because if the songs aren't good, who knows what they're making you think about or do that you don't even realize. I mean, you have situations like, look at Chris Cornell, for example. Chris Cornell, he died in 2017, and the last song that he played was "In My Time of Dying" by Led Zeppelin. Now, I hadn't really heard that song from Led Zeppelin. Obviously, Led Zeppelin has a big discography, right? But people could be like, "Oh, well, that was just a song." But to be honest with you, if you listen to that song, you feel a certain way, especially if your mind is not right. You know,
That's right. Yeah.
Sometimes that's what it is too. Maybe the song seems okay, but if your mindset is not okay, then you'd be like, if you listen to the song, especially in the beginning, you could definitely feel like, yeah, there's something not right. If somebody was like depressed or not in a good state, it wouldn't be surprising if somebody would have done something, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to
And
say.
I just want to interject. Like, I'd go further. You don't have to be a Christian. You could be of different faiths. I know there might be people here. There might be people here from the tech world that might be skeptical, atheists, or
Oh
anything
yeah.
of different faiths. But I would say, like, maybe perhaps you want to give that chance to do some sort of media fasting and see if
Yeah.
it makes a change in your life. It's
Yeah.
almost like if you were a data engineer, you would say cleaning the data and see what happens. Maybe it might produce a
Yeah.
good result. So yeah,
Oh
definitely.
no, yeah. I definitely agree with you. Yeah. I said Christian, but in reality everyone should really do that. I would really recommend everyone to do that, because honestly, again, you don't know what kind of things that you don't know what kind of things the artist has put on the song. You don't know what's happening in the background. I mean, if you do some research, you listen to people who talk about the industry after they've left, there's all sorts of dark things happening in the behind the scenes, and you could even see it in the music industry themselves. Like, how many artists you see that, oh, they had this incident or that incident, they're going after this person, that person, and their whole lives are just like a mess, right?
You're
So
true, and when you keep constantly like like being more friendly towards the type of content with people who don't have let's just say a healthy background or healthy story in the background, you kind of like align yourself to be driving yourself to that direction as well, messing up your
mhm.
narrative.
No, I
So
agree. Yeah.
yeah, oh
No,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
definitely.
Yeah,
Oh no,
yeah,
yeah,
I
definitely, I
just
agree.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you have
Sorry,
something to
I didn't
say?
mean to cut you. I was just trying to like clarify to the audience too. Like
Yeah.
it's not always about it doesn't have to be Christian. Just trying to have a clean sort of a clean story you're building for yourself. Just make sure that you could go to the positive direction. And I know sometimes it's, I guess, even I know for you, you're strictly against it, but if you do occasionally listen to rock, I guess that's something to say. But, just having this sort of clean mind and, sometimes it's like almost like removing junk food from your diet in a way that, you build maybe a more stronger mentality. You might even see it. I think for you, in your case, you said you felt like, you feel less stressed, less anxious, I guess. Is that the best way to define it? Like, you feel much more at peace right now and you could do better at
Yeah.
work without all these certain external factors just
Yeah.
bouncing off at you.
Yeah, because I definitely feel more at peace with myself, with my faith, with my spirit. Ever since I took that, I got rid of those things because I didn't feel that they were hindering my work, but
Oh,
when I
okay.
took them out, I felt it different. So clearly they had some effect on me, maybe that I wasn't seeing. Maybe it didn't affect
Wow.
my work, but maybe something else, maybe it was affecting me that maybe I couldn't be seen by the eye. And yeah, I was gonna say something, but I
No,
kind of
go ahead.
forgot.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shoot. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have
No, it's okay.
interrupted. Sorry. I was
Oh,
just
no,
trying
it's
to,
okay. It's
I was trying
okay.
to like, I was trying to like affirm like, yes, definitely. I endorse media fasting and,
Yeah.
I don't even
Oh,
listen to heavy metal.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what I was gonna say about the rock one, yeah. So this is coming from somebody who listened to all kinds of rock. Like I listened to rock and roll, stoner rock, like jazz rock, any rock that you probably could imagine besides like black metal or something. I've listened to it, and I liked it. So I'm just gonna, warn everybody right now that just think for a second when you listen to a genre, because I think this is happening in contemporary music as well. I'm sorry, contemporary Christian music, where I feel like contemporary Christian music right now is also incorporating some elements of the world into the music. So now you see a lot of songs that are like Christian rock or Christian rap or, whatever. And, you just have to think for a second, right? The Bible talks about in Matthew, like, evaluate something based on the fruit, right? So what does the fruit give you? So if you listen to a rock song, what kind of fruit does that give you, I guess?
Hmm.
Even if, because you have to remember the architecture of rock, right? Like if you look at the
Right.
people who created rock, what kind of their belief system was, right? I mean, you have ACDC over here talking about Highway to Hell and putting the devil horns, right? Then you have Led Zeppelin over here. You got Jimmy Page. He may deny it, but he got the house from Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley, is known for being into the occult, right? And you know what I'm saying, like, on the
Yeah.
surface we may think these songs, oh, they're good or whatever, but if you look underneath, especially in rock, it may not be every rock, but the point is that the architectures behind it, there is something more darker behind it. And that's why I'm against the idea of listening as well as like even like Christian rock, because if I'm listening to a song about Jesus and but it makes me want to go to a mosh pit, then can I really consider this song, I guess, Christian, or good, because it's not reminding me of Jesus, reminding me about going to a mosh pit. Or if I listen to even a jazz like Christian song, does it make me want to go to a bar, or it makes me want to go to Jesus, right? And
Wow.
I think we need to really evaluate the fruit of the song and what it emits. So I again, I know everyone has different beliefs, but I strongly oppose secular music now, because of what I've learned about the type of what music does to people, and what are the energies behind it and the lives of the artists that you listen to. And yeah,
Yeah,
so
but I mean, some of you who are listening might be skeptical, but I want to emphasize again that Chantel has interviewed so many musicians. She's dived herself literally with instruments and, dive herself into this huge libraries of art, of music work. Like, many different genres in rock, heavy metal, rap, even. So, if you guys have like any contested complaints about that, Chantel could like own you on that stuff because she knows that genre pretty thoroughly to
yeah.
even to the beat and to time signatures and all that crazy chord stuff. I don't think even if I were skeptical, I don't think I can like debate her on this stuff. So
I
Like,
mean, I don't know like every single, like genre or artist or every single like time signature and
she's being humble.
everything
It's a
like
test. It's a
that.
part of a quality of
But
being a Christian.
but
So
but I'm just speaking from experience. I've listened to so many different genres and it is feels like a very spiritual experience. So when you do listen to a song, when you do play it and if you play back the lyrics, it's almost like an enchantment in a way, of what you're conjuring. I know that sounds very like, someone would think that sounds very extreme. But if you take the exercise of fasting from the music you're listening to and stepping away from that and stepping into more, music that isn't like what you're listening to, then you'll really see the difference is what I'm gonna say. Is what
yeah,
I'm gonna say.
definitely. And I'm curious, are you planning to write this more? You said on Faith Writers, right? Is there like some sort of URL or some sort of like, I guess, Facebook page that we could follow you discussing more about that sort of content? Um, yeah, because I know you plan to take more writing into that direction. Is there some way that people can follow your content like that? Or maybe like if they want to debate you, you'll be ready at this Twitter
Oh
handle. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah. So I haven't really like formed it yet. Like I kind of started writing down different topics that I would like to discuss.
Okay.
Um but I definitely do want to have that. I definitely want to develop some sort of, podcast, and I know people will challenge me, and that's expected. So
Okay.
I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that.
Oh, sure.
Because I like the discussion, like the discussion.
Yeah, true, definitely. And I guess if you do have that form, just let me know, and I'll post it in the description below about that. And
Mhm.
yeah, is there anything else you want to add to that before I talk more about this fasting topic? Anything more you want to talk about your Christianity and faith before I switch topics?
Um let's see. I know we got into the whole like music thing. So I guess, again, I know everyone has different like faiths and beliefs, and I'm not like judgmental or anything like that. God is the only one that judges. I guess what I'm going to say right now is that just really take in consideration what is happening right now, and understand that, or try if you can, understand that, we're fighting a lot of different things right now in our world. And I feel like the common thing that happens when things go wrong is people tend to blame, why would God allow this? Why would God do this? I thought God was supposed to be loving. Why would he do that? And a good place to kind of start understanding, John Ramirez. So I don't know John Ramirez is. John Ramirez was actually a former Satanist,
Oh, wow.
and he converted to Christianity. And his testimony is really, really amazing. I mean, he has so many videos on YouTube, and there's one particular video. I forgot the channel. I think it's Isn't Supernatural. Like if you type in John Ramirez testimony, it's like up there, and he essentially talks about his time as being a Satanist, right? And he talks about how when he, as design, as part of his duty as part of this church, and he had a general position, like he was high up in this church. So what he would do is he would get assigned assignments. So there's this thing in the occult world called astral projection. Astral projection is pretty much like you kind of leave your body and you go into different regions, right?
Mhm.
So and by saying that, what he said he used to do is that they would astral project to different regions and do curses on different places. So they would curse this region of disease, or curse this region of drunkenness or poverty. Um, and I just want to make the point in terms of that, there's a lot of things happening that people don't realize, like good and evil. And I think that what we're seeing, like now, if you hear John's testimony about how he converted, like he was saved, by Jesus. He was serving the devil, but then he was saved by Jesus. He went to hell too, and he was saved by the cross of Jesus. And I can tell you too that I almost went down to hell twice. I could tell you that I've seen demons and things like that. So, I really just want to push that, I would say heaven and hell is real. There's definitely a hell. There's a heaven. Jesus is the only way to salvation. So
True. I agree with that part.
But
Another
I
part,
know
I
people
never
will
experienced
challenge
that.
me. I know
No,
people would challenge me, but I'm just being honest. Everything that I've experienced is 100% accurate. I'm not lying. I'm not trying to make it sound salacious or, trying to cause attention. Like, I'm just being really straightforward that I've experienced things and see things that I would not want anyone to see. So that's why I'm really pushing people to, convert and become Christians for
yeah,
Jesus.
definitely. And I know you always feel so passionate to do that, and hopefully this platform gives you the chance to talk about it, or even if there's some
Yeah.
contentious people about that. And feel free. Again, I want to emphasize that if there's parts you don't want to include, and maybe you say like maybe now's not the time to post this. Let me know about that. But I think,
Okay.
but even to those who are just starting, I mean, just like the basic saying goes from my favorite person that I follow, Jordan Peterson, clean your room and they might show that great results like what you mentioned. You feel much more,
Oh,
you
yeah,
feel
Jordan
clean. And
Peterson, yeah.
yeah, so
Mhm.
anyways, you talk about media fasting. I'm curious, I know you're also into diets and being healthy, and can you tell me more about like your sort of things that you A/B tested when you're putting a good diet into your health? Like you lost like lots of weight, so that's pretty great. And
Yeah. Yeah, so what I did, when I was in my job, I guess because like you're in the city and you just wanna, like, I don't know, I feel like I was always hungry because I was
right.
always, moving around and walking, and so I would eat, like, snacks and everything in between, so, I think that and the accessibility of food, like, I could just go downstairs, I could get a pastry, I could get snacks, so
Right.
I think all of it kind of added up, to, like, me gaining some weight, so I guess, because I didn't have that anymore and being at home, so,
Yeah, and
you
New
know
York City is so stressful too, and seeing all those advertisements bombarding you, you just had to buy, a Mac bagel or some sort of donut. Yeah, so
Yeah, exactly, so with me, like, I just, I started to kind of be more conscious about what I eat at home because now I'm not moving as much as I would in New York,
right.
and, thankfully, thank God that, where I live is, like parks and trees, so I can jog, so I started jogging again, and I did like the whole Alexis ran ab workout. It's like a 10-minute ab
Wow.
workout on YouTube. It was really difficult in the beginning, but over time, like, it became, more tolerable. So I would say that thing, like, if you like, a lot of people get like overwhelmed because it's pretty difficult,
Mhm.
some of the stuff that, like, especially like the transition, there's not really like a break period or anything, but like I would just say, like, just keep going, just keep doing it because honestly it helped me lose like a lot of weight. And did some other exercises too, but those are like the two main things that I've done. And just like be more conscious about what I eat, especially at night, like try to eat like less carbs, and things like that.
I
So
see. What is your diet like? Is it just like lean meats and green veggies, or is it more funky?
uh it's kind of a mix. Yeah, it's kind of a mix. I think my diet could probably be a little better, honestly. But we do try to eat lean meats, mostly chicken, fish. I don't really eat any like candy or anything. So normally the meats that we eat are lean. We try to measure the rice now in terms of how much rice we eat. But it's still kind of a mix. I think I could improve probably a little bit on that.
You're doing much better than me. Almost every 2 days I eat like a jar of ice cream, so you're already way ahead
Okay.
of me. Well,
We ate ice cream too sometimes.
and true. And I just want to emphasize, being a developer is kind of sedentary. So having a good diet will help you have a clear mind. I know that's like the main topic is just having a clear mind all the way, but just having those aspects, just they all combine, they all overlap each
Yeah.
other. If you mess up one thing, the rest of the dominoes will fall, basically. So that's one thing good about you. You're pretty firm with each. You're pretty focused and strict on every aspect of your life, spiritually, in food, and in coding now and in writing. So you have like everything's all set for you.